Step into the Fieldhouse, your front row seat to legendary victories and untold stories. Hey, I'm your host, Lance Leonard, breaking down sports from the inside out, along with co-host Jimmy Lackey. It's more than just a game. It's the Fieldhouse Podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Fieldhouse Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Leonard. Jimmy Lackey, CEO and Prez of Kids Inc. right here. By the way, this is a production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network. We're always proud to do it, and we've had a lot of fun. Just kicked it off this year. I think we're getting better and better at it. I'm getting a lot of response outside of public now, and I always enjoy that. We like to bring in guests, but sometimes we just want to kick it here and chat it up. So, Jimmy, how's life, man?
It's good. It's good to be back.
Yeah?
Took a little week off last week.
What's a vacation like for you?
Very rare, but I'll be honest with you. We took one last week. We went to Angel Fire.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to come back. It never got above 75 degrees.
Fishing, hunt?
I did a little fishing. Well, let me. No, I don't know how to fly fish. So we fished a private lake up in Angel Fire area.
Well, wait. Private lakes?
Yeah. Well, they have a lake. You have to pay their fee to get on.
Okay, I got you.
It's not like somebody took us to some
I got you.
Lake.
Okay.
But it's a private lake, and you have to pay their fee to get on it. But then we had our fishing license from New Mexico, and so Luke and I, my son-in-law and I, took off down into Cimarron Canyon and got down by the running stream. And I never saw fish. I didn't care. I was sitting in a chair by this running water stream, and it's all covered by woods, and you're in the shade, and it's about 70 degrees, and that cool water's running by. I could stay there for 8 hours.
This ages me, but there's a movie called A River Runs Through It, and you got Brad Pitt out there fly fishing. It's gorgeous. He's catching all these trout and all that, and I love fly fishing.
I've never.
But I may be the worst in the world. But when you are in a stream by yourself with waders on, and trying to catch that fish, I get up early and do that when we go camping. And there's nothing like it, but I cannot snag many fish.
Really,
I'm just bad at it.
I did it old school way and still didn't snag any, so I don't feel bad.
Yeah, but just a good time to get away.
We middle daughter, youngest daughter went.
How productive would you be in this world, or all of us, if we, that's kind of your happy space or your peaceful place? What if you lived like that, like you did that weekly? How much more productive would you be?
If I could bring that weather with me back here, I would be extremely productive because I would spend more time outside.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't like being outside in the heat. I'll just be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's fair. And the wind.
And I grew up doing that. I mean, I played golf, college golf. I was out in the sun all the time, and but I just don't like the heat anymore. I don't like bitter cold either. So I'm extremely fair weathered, but I would spend a lot more time in the fresh air if the weather was such.
I think if we could all figure out, and I know maybe it's pie in the sky, if we could all figure out our happy spot where we find that peace, and then we go, because when you're a better version of yourself, then you're better to other people as well.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? When you're going through it, it affects everything in your world, but I've always thought of that. Why not move to that place where we're all happy? And we can't all.
We had that discussion while we were there, though. We had this Airbnb. It's beautiful. It was my son-in-law and daughter and their little boy, and my youngest daughter, and then Luke's brother and his girlfriend came, and then Colton's whole side of the family were there. But anyway, we had several different Airbnbs. But we were sitting around going, could you live up here? I don't think I could live there because there's not that much to do. You know what I mean, year-round.
So you'd read books, you'd become smarter, all this good stuff.
Yeah, and what good would that do for me? Because, man, my learning curve would take me forever to get caught up.
I think it depends on your age and all, but no, I think it would be cool if like a 20-year-old had a chance to do that. When they're going through all the stuff in life and trying to find jobs and get married or whatever, relationships, everything.
I think you're right there because I never did any of that when I was younger.
I know. And
I
it's
think you're exactly right.
So,
And, money was the hindrance. I didn't have money to go do that.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
I agree, yeah.
But,
what was your first job? What was your first job? I mean, I know you guys are enjoying this conversation, but I'm just curious. I love to ask people what their first job was.
Well, I lifeguarded up through high school, but what I call my first job.
At the Dumas City Pool?
City Pool.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my dad ran pools in the summer when he coached. And but what I call my first job, I worked at the beef packing plant for 2 summers.
Ooh.
Yeah. I worked at the Swift plant right after my senior year in high school, and then the next year, first year after college.
Yeah.
Worked at the beef packing plant, and that'll make you ready to go back to school real fast.
Yeah. In fact, I got through college in northern Colorado at Montfort's working meat packing plants.
So you know.
Summer. Great money, though.
That's what I was just fixing to say. My buddies were working at the other plants making $3.25, and we're making $9 an hour there and getting a lot of overtime.
Did you ever have to hit kill floor?
Oh, all of it. We did it all. We were the grunt boys.
Yeah.
Todd Hornsby and I, and those of my buddies in Dumas will know Todd. Todd and I worked together in the summers out there, and I'm telling you, we did it all. We might be over in Fab cutting tongues off the heads. We might be over in carcass loadout with smocks on in the cold part of the plant, which was really nice. Or we may be right out there where we normally worked was the hide room, which is the nastiest place in the plant right next to rendering.
I hung the second leg. Okay. I know this is all foreign to you guys, but I hung the second leg for an entire summer. Yep. Your mind does not move. A big hook would come down, and you just put it on the calf's leg, and up it goes. I was a second leg hanger. So
here's what I learned: I would be a terrible cowboy, because every now and then, we'd run them up the chutes and want to come off those chains and take off out. They'd open those big doors, and he'd take off, and they'd send me and Todd to go get it. Well, that was more like our excuse just to get away from it all. And it'd take us forever to go rope one, but
just I don't know if you want to work in a meat packing plant, but I respect anybody who does.
Me too.
You eat burritos at 5:30 in the morning, stuff like that. It was awesome. It was
worked
awesome.
with some really good people. They were
first
good
car.
Us.
What was your first car?
1961 Impala.
How much?
How much? What
was it?
It was my granddad's.
Oh, so a hand-me-down.
Yeah, it was a hand-me-down. Yeah, it was, my granddad passed away. That was my first car.
So my first car I bought, I worked as a dishwasher and a back cook at a place in Greeley. So I bought a car right after my freshman year. Was driving down to Colorado Springs. It blew. I bought it that morning. Okay, saved up some money. Was going back for the summer to the Springs. Blew up in Denver. My dad was so mad because he said, just hold on to your money. We'll get something better. And I bought it and blew up. So I owned that thing for 2.5 hours.
First car I bought.
Left it there.
First car that I bought was a pickup. Was a GMC, a 1986 GMC pickup.
How much?
About $12,000.
Wow.
Brand new.
Wow.
Yeah. That was
so you were high cotton.
But back then, that was a lot of money. It didn't have any bells and whistles. Here's what it did have. It had a button on the dashboard that had 2 tanks, one on each side. So you could, if you had the money to fill it up, you could go a long ways. But outside of that, it didn't have much.
Yeah. Well, all right. Those are our stories for the day. But we'll get to some stuff. But I want to ask you. Obviously, Rock Rose is a big subject. Also, you're now on this the disaster that's going to be happening between Canyon and Amarillo for the next 4 years. But you'll be taking that daily, and so we're going to start this, and we're going to get a report from you whenever we do the podcast.
So, it's already started, so you better get ready.
But we'll also talk about some other stuff. We're just kind of having a chit-chat day today. Hope you enjoyed it. Ask people about their first job or what's the best thing that happened to them today, and you will start a conversation that you never know where it's going to go. So it's a great thing. Even 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds who don't want to talk to adults very often will answer those questions.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. Hey, we'll be back. This is the Fieldhouse Podcast. Thanks for joining us today.
Let me guess, your kids went to play sports and you want to find them a great team to be on? Well then come on, Kids Inc. is registering for fall sports right now. Woohoo! But seriously, we've got tackle and flag football, cheerleading, volleyball, outdoor soccer. That's a lot of options. Check out our new website to register your kids to play, learn, and grow this fall season at Kids Inc. That's www.kidsinc.org.
Welcome back into the Fieldhouse Podcast. I'm Lance Lunner. We got Jimmy Lackey here, CEO and Prez of Kids Inc. Jimmy, Rock Rose is on everybody's mind. We see the construction now, and we're going to talk about that between Canyon and Amarillo that we'll live with the next 3 or 4 years. But right there at the end of that, when they finish all that, is where we're going to have these amazing fields and a place where kids can really go play on a state-of-art facility. How's it going? You know what I mean?
Well, it is the $1 million question around town, and it's hard for me to explain and make people understand how complex it is. We're talking about a lot of money. But we are in a position now, and we are working with our engineers, and we're working with the folks from Rock Rose and the folks that will be putting in roads out there, because there's going to be new roads installed out in that development, because there's 25 to 30 business plats out there around our complex. And so we're in meetings getting those ready. But I asked the question last month, when can we possibly start moving dirt? And the answer that I got was maybe September. So we're hoping in a couple of months that people are going to start seeing some dirt moving. And so if that's the case, we will announce a big groundbreaking, and we will,
You're going to have the shovels out there?
100%. Yeah, we've waited so long for this, but it just there's a lot of.
I've always liked that. It's kind of
There's just so much that goes into it.
Yeah. I mean, well said too. I mean, there's a lot more than anybody even knows. Just even building Hodgetown, I'm sure the same way. Things like that. But it's going to be exciting. But I think once people see a grader out there or whatever, some dirt being moved, I think the anticipation and excitement will increase once again.
Here's the bottom line. I mean, if you want to get right down to the bottom line, we need about $6 million to finish up this campaign. And,
of a $30 million campaign,
so
no help from the city.
Yeah, and so we need to get that wrapped up. But we feel good enough that, because the way it'll work is we'll get a bill each month for the portion that was done. It's not like we have to pay everything up front.
Yes.
But we'll get a pay schedule, and we need to be able to pay those bills as they come in.
I agree.
And we need to close that $6 million gap between now and I'd like to have it finished by the end of the year. And that would make me feel real good going into 25 that funds are secured to make the payments to get this done.
We know a bunch of millionaires watch this podcast.
Yeah,
so,
they all do.
If you've got $6 million or a meal to drop on us, say we're all in for that.
But here's the deal: we're at that point in time now where those small gifts add up fast.
Oh yeah, totally.
And
totally.
so,
I laugh about it, but I'm a believer in what Kids Inc. does, because they are able to affect the entire city. Very few businesses, very few organizations in this world can affect your entire city, north, south, east, west. Kids Inc.'s able to do that. That's one reason I believe in it. So you're affecting all the kids who eventually become citizens of Amarillo, who eventually become your business leaders, who eventually have the money to help and feed back. When they're on those fields, they're going to know, hey, I remember that. I'm going to go help this kid out when I'm older. So I think it's a wonderful cycle of life that Amarillo has, and this is going to really ignite that.
I try to put things in perspective so people can understand the dollar figures. And so I asked the city for some statistics, and I needed to know how many tax-paying units are there out there, individuals and businesses that pay taxes to the city of Amarillo each year. So just think about this. If every taxpayer in the city of Amarillo gave $5 a month for 1 year, we'd be done.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
Big.
That's crazy. That is crazy, yeah. So, yeah. But
not going to happen, but that's just putting it into real numbers.
Appreciate the update, and we'll continue to do that right here on the Fieldhouse Podcast. We have the man himself. He knows what's going on. I know you don't get tired of it, but, I mean, it's a little daunting to be asked that question each and every day. But he doesn't mind talking about it. Jimmy doesn't. And so if you see him out in public, he's okay with this. He's okay with it. He knows the question gets asked a lot, but he has the answer. So you have the man himself. While we're on that subject, at the end of that good old Canyon E-Way, at the beginning of it right now, we are going to go through this. It's not ridiculous. That's the wrong word. Do we need 6 lanes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, with the growth pattern, I mean, think about this, Lance. And I was in a focus group meeting yesterday for Amarillo ISD talking about things that they have going on. But I served on a committee for Canyon ISD many years ago we had to move the line north to define the Canyon and Randall cutoff line. And we moved that line to McCormick.
Okay.
At the time. Now today, I couldn't swear to you where it is
that's
today.
fine.
It's probably been 10 or 12 years ago. But here's what's changed just since then. And I hope I get them right. Spring Canyon Elementary has been built. Heritage Hills Elementary has been built. City View Elementary has been built. Pinnacle Intermediate has been built. West Plains High School has been built.
Uh-huh.
All in Canyon ISD. in the last 12 years.
Yeah.
And that's in that growth pattern. And if you take Sauncey Road out of Amarillo and go to Canyon, there's homes everywhere, and there's new developments going up everywhere. Ashley used to live out in one of those spaces out there. It's blowing up. There's new restaurants coming up at 2219, and so that traffic flow, I wish they were. They're doing it from the Loop to the Canyon Lubbock split. I wish they were taking it all the way to where it goes into 3-lane at Western. You know how you come in from Canyon and it hits 3 lanes? I wish they were tying it into there.
All the way to there,
I wish right there it would hit 3 lanes and you just hit the road and go.
That would be cool. That'd be cool.
But yeah, in answer to your question, it is.
My good friend Jason is over at TxDOT, and he's they're looking 10 years ahead what it's going to look like on a 4-lane. It's a disaster. So I trust you guys but you're going to be driving that every day. Are we going to see a huffy Jimmy come into work? Or are we going to see a happy Jimmy?
No, there's a back way. And, of course, everybody else is going to go the back way, too.
The back way is going to be so bad.
Yeah. But I'm going to say, while you mentioned TxDOT, I'm going to give them a shout-out because we've been in talks with them for 2 years over this project of ours. Because if everyone knows where our project lays out there by the movie theater, there are playa lakes on the east side of I-27 between Randall High School and us. And TxDOT has allowed us to sit at the table with them, which they don't have to do that. And one of the things that will come from this new piece of construction is they will enlarge those 2 culverts that go under I-27 from our property to the playas.
Wow.
That's going to allow for a lot more tonnage to go through there when we have rains like we had a year ago, and satisfy a lot of those drainage needs out to those playa lakes. And so they didn't have to allow us to be in it, number one. And number two, I know they're excited about getting the funding up this quick because it really wasn't supposed to be this quick.
Yeah.
And when we found out about 6 months ago they were going to get to move this up, I honestly was very excited about it because I know how hard those guys work. Blair and all of them down there have worked on this project. And, we're going to have to put up with it. But
yeah, we're going to definitely have to put up with it.
It'll be better. We'll be better for it.
I hope they just anytime, anytime we're in this situation, I hope they give you mass warning before when to slow down, when to speed up, things like that. Because a couple of times it's a little iffy, quite honestly. So I hope that's adjusted. But take your patient pill every morning. I mean, it's not going to be fun, but in 3 to 4 years, that seems like forever. Yeah, and it is forever, but it'll be so.
I hope
wonderful.
I make that.
Yeah, me too. So yeah. Anyway, I was just curious. So you already got your back road plan.
Well, if you go straight out to Washington and come in the back way, here's the nice thing about it: you don't hit a light until you get to town.
Yeah.
And I can cut off at the Loop.
Don't you think everybody's going to be doing that?
Well, you got so many. Here's the deal, though, Lance. You got so many people that live west of I-27 that come up Sauncey.
Yeah,
There's so many that go to the medical center and come that direction to work. That's the one that's going to get.
Yeah, that's going to be bad.
Because there's lights out there at 2219.
Yeah.
The road is not as wide as the road is going down Washington. It's going to.
Yeah. I wanted to get your opinion on that.
It's going to get interesting.
Hey, I've got a couple more things for you today. There's a new athletic director down at West Texas A&M. Michael McBroom left and went to Stephen F. Austin. We had him on the podcast, the Fieldhouse Podcast, right here. Glad for him to come in. What would you like to see this new AD get done?
Well,
right out of the box.
I mean, on paper, he's coming from one of the most
Grand Valley State
successful Division II programs.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And so, if he's learned anything there, bring it with him because they've obviously known how to do that. I mean, a lot of people may not know this, but when I was working at WT, their head football coach was a guy named Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
And then he went to Cincinnati. Then he went to Notre Dame, and now he's at LSU. So they have a tremendous past in not just football but other sports. And this guy's been there a long time. It's his alma mater, and he spent a long time on their staff there. And so he's got the acumen at the Division II level to at least understand what it is we want here, because what we're accustomed to is very much what they're accustomed to there. And I'm glad they found somebody with that kind of background to follow Michael, because he's got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, maybe
if he's listening, I'll tell him right now he's got big shoes to fill.
Oh, he does. And, the rumors down there on some budget cuts, things like that, so they're going to have to deal with that. Has an amazing coaching staff, but he's going to lose a few of those coaches now. For instance, The baseball coach, Artie Vandy, went over to back with Michael. They're
Yep.
back together. I'm not sure that he's the first that Michael will pick.
Yep.
I don't blame him.
No.
I don't blame him. He's got some great coaches here
He
who
does.
are capable of coaching at that level
Very
easily.
much so. Very much so.
Should be interesting for WT fans to see what goes on with that.
I think they've got an introductory press conference with him a week from today. So by the time we drop this podcast, it'll be the day after.
Yeah, we need to get him on, and Windler, Dr. Windler. I shouldn't call him Mr. Windler. He deserves that respect.
Coach Harry, by the way, was going to be with us today, the new volleyball coach, and the new AD was on campus today, and so she had to go to the meeting with him.
She gave up this amazing podcast.
She did.
You got to be kidding me.
And so, but
I'm
promised me
disappointed
that
in her.
she's promised me that she'd get on before the season gets started.
Of course, she's got to do that. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
So
she'll be on.
hey, I know you're a baseball guy. The All-Star game was in Arlington. What were with those uniforms? That's a clown show. You have the Major League Baseball millionaires on that field, and did you see those uniforms? My gosh.
It wasn't good.
It was horrible.
It wasn't good.
You have professional athletes and managers are going to be in the Hall of Fame dressed up like clowns. Major League Baseball, just do what's right and go back to your jerseys. We want to see the Texas Rangers players in their jersey. We know who they are. One of the coolest things in sports is lining up those athletes on the first base and third base side. This is in my opinion. And you see all the different jerseys, okay?
Yep.
Just if it's not broke, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Whatever they dressed him up in, Bochy looked ridiculous, okay? He looked absolutely, I mean, it was sad. It was sad, and I just wanted to throw that out today because that's fresh on my mind.
Well,
I've got to also ask you this. At the home run hitting contest, this went all over social media. Felt sorry for her, but the young lady was hammered singing the national anthem, okay?
Bad, weird.
It was
Maddie and
absolutely
I were talking about this before you got here.
absolutely the worst. Well, Roseanne Barr, if you go back, if you want to look on her, I know you don't remember that name, but if you go back and look on YouTube of Roseanne Barr singing national anthem, she did it on purpose. It was ridiculous. It was horrible. You have the sprinter from Houston, Carl Lewis, who tried to sing at an NBA game, I think it was brutal. Obviously, you have Fergie at an NBA game doing her thing, thought she was going to break it out, and it was horrible. This was just sad. I've got to ask you this. When somebody's going through that, so why don't in this world we show some kindness and bail her out of that? Just stop it. She's not getting it done. It's horrible. Everybody's laughing at her or trying to hold back from not laughing. Get her off the stage, man. Get her off. What's your thought?
Yeah, when you're on the production side of that, it's difficult because you're live, you're in motion, and it's like it's almost
you're live, so you
it's almost too late.
You bail her out.
Yeah.
No,
you go to commercial, you go to get whatever you can do, but physically in the stadium, there's not much you can do.
CBS Morning Show did a great thing. They showed four-time Grammy Award nominee. They showed her actually at a like a country award show singing, and it was awesome. I'm just going to tell you, it was way above average stuff. So at least they gave her, like, the girl can sing.
Yeah.
She's in rehab now. We wish her the best. And all
when
that,
I was telling Maddie and Ashley off air,
what would Maddie and Ashley have to say?
Well, they asked me, did I see it? And I said, oh, yeah. And, here's I love music. I'm a big music freak. And when you listen to somebody on the radio and you listen to somebody live, you and I both know there's a huge difference.
There's a huge difference.
And those that can there's those that can hit those notes, whether they're with or without sound equipment.
Yeah, they're just gifted.
Carrie Underwood is one. I can tell you right now, I've seen her live, and she
Linda Ronstadt was
without. I'm talking about acoustical. Doesn't need all the fanfare in the background. Just singing by themselves. People like that. They're even there's a line in the sand between those folks and the next group, and the next group's very good.
Yeah.
But when you get somebody like in her condition the other day, she didn't have a prayer, and
she didn't have a prayer. That's what my prayer is. Go help her out, man. Do you remember Maurice Cheeks, the young lady?
Yeah,
when it was a kid singing singing the national anthem, and she forgot the words.
And he
just goes out there, puts his hand on her back, and start singing with
And
her.
Maurice sings like I do, but man, he helped her out. And
He helped her out. I agree.
that's the time that it doesn't matter.
We're all laughing at her. Just go help her. Because it was bad. I know guys who were at the game. A lot of people were at the home run hitting contest. It was worse in person than it was on TV.
I'm sure.
So,
and she sounded tone deaf. Didn't even sound like a professional singer
Yeah.
at any point in time during that rendition.
Yeah,
not once.
Here's my thought, though. How about this? She's sober. She's clean. We know she can sing. The Texas Rangers invite her back for one night to sing the national anthem. Put her at the same exact spot where she failed and put her there and let her belt it out, which I know she can when she's sober and doing well, and get that memory past everybody and let everybody celebrate with the young lady. I mean, if you're a 4-time Grammy nominee, you can sing.
Sure.
You can sing. So
great idea.
I was disappointed.
I like the idea.
I think we write the – do you know anybody at the Rangers? Do you know any heavyweights?
No.
All right. Last one, hey, brush with famouses. We have to bring this up. The reason I bring that up because I once a brush with the famous. What's one of your favorite brushes with the famous?
Well, the one that comes to mind immediately, when I was running the alumni office at WT, I was heading to Corpus for an alumni convention conference, and I'm standing there, and I'm in a suit, and I got a WT lapel pin on, and George Bush is standing over there.
Yeah, George, which one?
Younger George Bush. And
wow, this is going to be crazy.
He owned the Rangers at the time.
Yes.
And he walked up to me. He saw my lapel pin. He knew the WT lapel pin. He goes, "You from West Texas?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And we chit-chatted, and so we ended up on the plane together. He sits right next to me. I'm on the aisle, and he sat
You're
right
in the
next
airport together at Amarillo?
Amarillo going to
Okay.
Dallas.
Yeah.
And he sat right next to me the whole trip. And so I had a great
Southwest?
Mm-hmm.
George?
Oh, yeah. This was when he owned the Rangers.
What's he doing on Southwest?
I don't know.
Okay.
Just as plain Jane as the rest of us in the line, and everybody obviously knew who he was. But I had the opportunity to sit with him, and we visited about the Rangers, and we visited about WT. He knew a lot about WT at the time, and I suspect, and I didn't ask him what he was doing in Amarillo, but I suspect at that time he was here talking about running for governor.
Yeah.
And it was shortly before that time. But
Yeah.
if I had to go back to the one, it was an hour plane ride
Wow.
with him, and it was
That's
it was
pretty good.
outstanding. What a nice man.
I'm going to tell you what, we didn't plan this, but mine's George W. too. So
Really?
he's in Amarillo. He is running for governor at the time, okay? But they have a press conference, and he owned the Rangers, all right? But they had a press conference at the Civic Center. So I get there early. I'm sitting in the front row with all the media. I wait the whole press conference. It's over. I come up to him. I'm going to try to get some questions for the Globe News, who I'm writing for at the time, on the Rangers. So I'm walking up, and he goes, "You're a sports writer. I can see you guys a mile away." I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, you guys wear these jackets," and I had a jacket on. I felt so and he just laughed. He said, "Oh, yeah, he goes, "I'm done talking politics today. I want to talk the Rangers. Look, they have a little lunch for us set up before I have to go do my next meeting. Why don't you just come with us and eat lunch with me and talk?"
How cool.
So about 30 minutes. That is
I wonder if
crazy.
it was the same day.
I don't know. He had an entourage.
Okay, no.
That day.
He was by himself.
He had an entourage,
No, he was by
so I think it was
himself.
private plane, the
He
whole
was.
deal.
I mean, he was no different than any of us in this
he
room.
was so nice to me. I could not believe
Super.
it.
I would love to sit down with him and his wife, just have lunch with them sometime.
Really?
Oh, she's a sweet lady.
Yeah, I know.
And
She's the one.
And I got an hour of him and found out how nice a guy he was, and yeah, I would love to have lunch with him.
That's another question, since we're kind of just visiting today. If you ask people to brush with the famous, put them in their spot. It's kind of fun to listen to who they've run into or what they've happened. Do you have a worse brush with the famous?
No, I haven't been around many famous people besides you.
Yeah, that's not even close. Yeah. We'll talk about that later in the podcast as we talk. I've had a couple of rough brushes with the famous. Okay,
I'm sure you have.
So it's not fun.
I got to give a shout out real quick.
Yes.
Cash Mayfield, kiddo from Elk City, Oklahoma, where we obviously have Kids Incorporated of Elk City. Has been an umpire and referee for us through these years.
Name.
Cash, K-A-S-H. Cash
K?
Mayfield. Mm-hmm. He is a left-handed pitcher. Just wrapped up his career at Elk City High School and was the 25th pick in the MLB draft by the Padres.
25th overall?
25th overall.
Ooh, that's some cash.
He's throwing it between 92 and 95.
That's awesome.
Peaking at 97. Great kid. And I wish I had my information in front of him, but he got some notoriety award from a business in the area, and they allowed him to pick who he wanted to give the $1,000 gift to, and he gave it to Kids Inc. of Elk City.
That's pretty cool.
And I want to give Cash a shout out and give him all the best going forward,
Cash.
because
congratulations. He must have stuff if he's
got it, and he's a big tall kid, and
be cool if the Potteridge are still the Sod Poodles.
Wouldn't it be him to come here?
Cash from Elk City, yeah.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
You could chat up the Kids Inc. Jimmy, hey, thanks for today.
Yep.
We hope you enjoyed our conversation today. We'll bring guests in throughout the fall as we get settled in on this. Summer's a really busy time for people. But thanks for the convo, man. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. This was fun.
Yeah, it was. All right. Hey, we'll be back soon. We can't thank you enough for watching the Fieldhouse Podcast. Remember, it's a production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network. Go to that website, things like that. Check it out. A lot of great stuff on there. And we'll be back soon. Have a great day.